Overcoming financial burdens has always been a dilemma for the public educational system of Chicago. During the late 1920s, an increase in approximately 400,000 students into the public educational system created an era of controversy and debate over issues such as school finances. During that time, the state was provided little support for public schools, and the school board had to take out loans to fund basic learning programs such as math and literature. Children's education was being placed on the back burner. During the 1960s, Mayors Harold Washington and Richard Daley passed education laws to reform the school system. While these laws were effective and helped to increase the performance of children in schools, they did not address the fundamental issues that plague the Chicago Public School, or CPS, system. Currently, that question continues to afflict the CPS system. In August of 2007, Kayleen Hernandez started work for the Aspira Early College Charter School in Chicago, Illinois. As a dedicated math and science teacher, Hernandez taught a variety of courses and was a constant advocate on behalf of her students' well-being. In order to more efficiently teach her students, she even took it upon herself to purchase art supplies for the classroom setting. Soon after starting her job at the high school, she noticed major misallocation of funding. 4 months into the school year, her students still did not have books and classroom supplies that were needed for adequate learning. The classroom was equipped with only one book set, no computers, and the school had disregarded the need for materials and project-based learning activities. Seeing as Aspira Charter School has a sufficient amount of funding and should have been able to provide basic resources for its students, Hernandez quickly realized that the school's funding was being misallocated. This funding was being put towards teacher luxuries such as 5-course meals, scale models for decoration and appearance, and excessive salaries which were unnecessary for the staff. The principal even used Aspira's financial allocation to take a trip to Puerto Rico. This misallocation of funding was taking away from students' well-being and education. Andrea Mitchell, U.S. history teacher at Walter Payton College Prep and union representative, believes that the misallocation of funding is a serious offense on the education of her students.
Public funding is intended to benefit the public good. There's no greater common good than to educate the future generation so they can move ahead and carry the torch, forward in terms of all of our advances as a civilization.
Hernandez quickly realized the injustices that were occurring inside of the school due to the misallocation of funds. There was only one set of textbooks per class, and no student was allowed to take these books home. There were no computers in the classrooms, and art supplies, such as paint, for math and architecture class were non-existent. There were no pictures of posters on the classroom walls, and the school didn't have the funding to allocate towards proper safety measures in the chemistry labs, meaning that the chemistry lab did not meet city safety regulations. Hernandez soon realized something even more horrifying. She began to notice slight alterations in students' attendance. When she investigated this, she found something even more horrendous. Aspira's principal, Jose Valquez, was allowing the administration to change not only student attendance, but also student grades to raise prestige, and therefore money, the school was given. When Hernandez inquired about this, the chairman of the board told all the teachers to, quote, shut their mouths. Hernandez knew this injustice had to be stopped. However, as soon as she confronted the board and Aspira's director, Jose Rodriguez, they ignored her complaints and even told her that she needed to focus more on the children rather than the issue at hand. Later that year, only 2 days before the school year ended, and a couple of weeks after the confrontation, she was fired. The school's reasoning for her unemployment was her attendance. However, Hernandez believes that she was fired for another reason. Hernandez stated in an interview with Substance News, quote, Rodriguez fired me because I was one of the last 3 teachers who knew what really happened. I had excellent reviews, no reprimands or write-ups of any kind, end quote. After Hernandez left, academic proficiency continued to plummet, and in 2007, only 17% of the student population was deemed academically proficient. Educational experts claim that children at Aspira are failing because of lack of supplies and books that money should be allocated to. This gross misallocation of funding is happening not only at Aspira Charter School, but on a large spread scale. Increasing schools, public and private, all over the city of Chicago are being exposed as corrupt, and these corrupt schools are failing significantly. John McKenzie, professor at the University of Delaware and a member of the Christina School District Board of Education, conducted a study on the correlation between funding and student performance. Through his research, he came to the conclusion that a $1,000 increase in per-pupil funding would yield a 9.28-point increase in combined SAT 1 scores. This corrupt system needs to be changed if we are to increase the learning capabilities of children in the classroom. Students in the CPS system are the future generation of Chicago, Illinois, the United States, and the world as a whole. Students cannot be expected to and will not succeed at furthering their lives and becoming excellent members of society without a proper education. In order to enhance this education, school funding needs to be allocated properly, and most importantly, actually go towards the benefit of the students. Students are the future leaders, teachers, and mentors of generations to come. To have any ounce of hope for a prospering nation, every student's education needs to be taken seriously. The time to act is now. We cannot endanger students' academics any longer. We must save the children.